Hello and welcome to the Nerd-Base unboxing video for the OCZ ZT 550 watt power supply. I chose this power supply because it's a modular power supply going along with a modular case. And being modular, it means that you don't have to use all the cables that you would normally use with the power supply. A lot of times power supplies have cables, a bunch of cables that have to fit inside of a case, and with this you only use the cables that you actually need. Any other cables I can just leave out, and having a smaller micro ATX case that I bought last time with a thermal take, it helps out a lot not having to use all the cables. In this whole video I'm going to go through the unboxing as well as actually mounting it into the case so you can see how to do that properly. It's fairly simple. It's just you just need a screwdriver, and there's usually screws provided, so the life is easy. We'll go through actually plugging things in a later video where we're actually plugging in the motherboard and everything else. Okay, so we'll start unboxing. Okay, I don't expect there to be too much inside of this box other than the power supply and a bunch of cables. Let's find out if I'm right. Ooh, actually slightly fancy looking. Let's see what this is. I honestly don't know. Ah, they gave the bag its own nice little, or the power supply its own nice little bag, which has a drawstring, so it's a little, there we go. Oh, a nice big fan. One of the other things about this power supply, it's supposed to be silent, like not silent, but it's going to be very quiet, so that'll help some. And you can see the modular pieces where all of the cables plug into, and of course the power supply, the power cord is going to face on that side. And put that aside for now. And the other box, which they made nicer for no reason. It should just have the cables and things in it, and yes it does. It has the manual, power cable, and each individual piece that's going to connect into for the motherboards, hard drives, and everything else. Like this is the main power supply piece that goes from the power supply to the motherboard directly. Whole lot of other cables. It came with a great amount of cables. I'm only going to need probably half of these in order to do what I want to do. So that's good. Alright, so now we'll move on to actually putting the power supply itself into the computer. We're not going to use any of these cables right now, so I can put them back in the box. Oh, and it has the screws in here I'm going to need, as well as some wire ties, which is nice for cable maintenance inside. So everything else I can avoid. Okay, so now we're going to go through the actual installation into the case. Once again, using the Thermaltake A30 armor case, I'm going to pull off the top. I've already removed the screws that held this in place to make life a little easier. With this case, because it's smaller and tighter, this would be in the way of installation. Thankfully it's modular, so I'm going to slide this out. And we're going to take the power supply. You're going to turn the fan facing down, and keeping obviously the plug facing outward on the case. And in most cases there's going to be a way to slide it in. With this case there's a little bracket guiding system to help me in there. The one thing that's a little weird about this case, not weird because it's not that big of a deal, but only two holes are really going to be securing this completely to the board, to the case itself. The other holes that are in place won't really fasten it to the thing that well, but we're going to screw in a couple of other places anyway to make it more secure. And they provide you with little Phillips head screws to put it in there. So like I said, these won't really hold it in place completely, but it'll help a little bit. So I'm just going to put it in anyway. Better safe than sorry. Well, this screw seems to be more than a pain getting in for one reason or another. Hopefully I can do it now. Generally this type of stuff is relatively easy, especially the case going in and getting the parts in. It's just that with this particular model, not having the 4 screws in the 4 corners matching up with the holes, it gets a little tricky on 1 or 2 of the screws. Like the bottom 2, which are the main ones that you need, were simple. The other 2, it varies a little bit. But once you look inside, now you can see that the power supply cords that you're going to need to eventually plug into everything are facing the right way out to all of the parts. Later in another video we'll actually show you connecting everything up to the device itself. But that's all you need to know as far as putting the power supply in, and then later on we'll actually get to connecting.